let's just start standing. And I want you to think about your breath and your tummy connection. So roll your shoulders back and down, put one hand on your chest and one hand on your tummy, and start to take some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, and again. As you're breathing, you should feel your chest expand and your tummy expand as you inhale, and then both contract as you exhale. So on your next exhale, when you contract that tummy, I want you to keep it contracted and just start to breathe through the chest. So the chest is rising and falling as you inhale and exhale, and your tummy is staying nice and tight from hip to hip. Not too tight, you're not pulling in too much, but it just feels really strong and braced. Okay, let's come down to the mat. Coming on to all fours. So I'd like you to keep that tummy. When I say brace the tummy, that's what I mean. I want you to feel that strong connection with the tummy, but continuing to breathe all the time. So the chest is expanding and contracting. The tummy's staying tight and strong. Okay. On all fours to start with, hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and we're just going to take a little cat stretch. So I'm going to brace the tummy, going to arch up the back, pull in the tummy button, dropping the chin towards the chest, looking through the knees. And breathe. Come back to a neutral position with the spine, and then I'm going to arch in the opposite direction. Gently, gently, and back to neutral. So we'll arch up again into that cat stretch, back to neutral, and gently into the opposite stretch, arching the other way, back to neutral, and just sit back there onto your heels. Let's come up onto our knees, roll the shoulders back and down. I'm going to take a little side bend. So I'm reaching down towards the floor, each side, lengthening the waist one side, contracting it the other. I'm going to start to wrap the arms over and under. That's it. 4 more. Hold the arms here, a little twist, gently to the side and back to center. So it's just the waist that's moving and the upper body, and your hips are staying facing forwards. Keeping those abs braced, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Let's go back to the side bend. Wrap the arms and the twist. Twist again. Side bend one more time. Brilliant. Come back down onto all fours. Pop one leg out to the side and just gently lean back and then back onto all fours. Okay. Okay, so take the weight back a little bit so you start to feel a stretch in the inner thigh, and then come back. Let's do 2 more. So you don't have to come too far back, just start to feel that stretch. Let's do the same on the other side. I'm going to come this way because I haven't got much room. Let's take that leg out and start to lean back. And bring the weight forward again, so take it back. So we're feeling that stretch in the inner thigh. Keeping those abs braced. Do 1 more. Excellent. Come back in. Pop your toes into the mat and just push your hips up. That's it. And start to pedal through the feet. So you're raising and pushing down with an opposite heel. We should be feeling a stretch this time through the back of the legs. And come back down. Sitting back onto the heels. And we'll come down onto our tummy. This way a little bit. Okay, have your hands by your sides, elbows bent. We're looking at the mat. Now I want you to brace those abs. A little squeeze on the bottom. Keep looking at the mat, and I'm going to raise the chest. So I'm coming up and lowering down. So my head is staying in line with the rest of the body. I'm not jerking it up or pulling it back. Bracing those abs, squeezing the bottom. Try not to put too much pressure on the arms as you raise. Let those back muscles do the work. I'm trying to breathe out as I come up. Sit nice and controlled. And hold it here. Just do the arms this time. So I'm going to raise the arms up and lower back to the floor. So my head is still down, looking at the mat. And as you raise those arms, you should feel your shoulder blades coming together. Slide into the center of the back. Keeping those abs braced, remember, squeeze on the bottom so we're not slumping into the back. How are we doing? Can we do a few more? Again, we're breathing out as we raise those arms. In as we bring them back down. Just really notice what's happening with your body as you do the exercise. Now if you want to, you can put both of those together and you can raise the chest and raise the arms at the same time. remembering to keep that head in line with the rest of the body. Pulling your tummy button away from the mat. Squeezing the bottom. 2 more. Slide those shoulder blades together as you raise. Wonderful, well done. So gently bring your hands to your side, come up, we'll sit back onto our heels, arms forward, we'll release the spine. And we'll come up to the side, and we'll come to a side lying pose. So we'll lengthen on our side. I'll come down a little bit. We'll extend the arm. Use it as like a little pillow for your head. Lengthen the legs, stack the hips one on top of the other. Brace those abs and then squeeze on the bottom. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top leg up and the bottom leg to meet it, so both legs are hovering off the floor. If that's too much, just pop the bottom leg down, okay? I'm going to raise that top leg, and when I bring it down, I'm going to flex the foot. I'm going to point the toes as I raise, and flex the foot as I bring it back down. Keep breathing. So we've got those abs braced, we've got the stacking of the hips. We're pulling away from the mat with our side as well, so we're not slumping down into it. This hand is for support. If you want extra challenge, you can take it away. Let's change the exercise. Pop that top leg behind and bend it, and we're going to work that bottom one. We're bringing it up and lowering it down. So now we're working into the inner thigh on the other leg. So think of lengthening that leg through as you raise. It doesn't have to come up too high. You should be able to start to feel it in that inner thigh. Keep breathing. Relax the neck and the head. So the side of that foot is coming up towards the ceiling. Let's do one more. Brilliant. Let's change position again. So bend the knees, get your heels in line with the bottom. Keep your feet together, and we're going to open the knees. Okay, so we're going to raise this top knee, open it up, and put it back down. Now I want you to keep your hips stacked. I don't want you to rock backwards. I want you to keep those hips nice and stacked. So you're not taking that knee too far back. And we're working into the muscles in the bottom there. Keeping those abs braced all the time. Just do 2 more. And 1 more. Excellent, well done. Come up, roll that shoulder round where you've been leaning on it. That's it, loosen it through. You can take that leg, that top leg, bring it across, and look over that same side shoulder. just to stretch through the hip. Okay, let's come onto our backs before we do the other side. So, bent knees, feet flat on the floor, shoulders relaxed. I want your head to be looking towards the ceiling, but not looking back or straight up. Tilt the chin slightly and just look forward and up. Okay. Now I want you to do a little tilt. So I want you to tilt your pelvis to two extremes. So tilt it one way so that your back fits flatly on the floor, and then tilt it the other way so that it arches off. So just gently move between those two extremes to start with. Keeping those abs braced, remember. That's it. Now this time, when I tilt my pelvis backwards, I'm going to start to raise the hips. Coming into this bridge position. Hold it there, squeeze the bottom. Now reverse that back down. I want you to think about coming down bone by bone. Okay, so we tilt the pelvis. Bone by bone we raise up. Hold it here for a second, and then we're melting back into the mat, reversing that. So those bones are coming down in reverse order. Let's tilt again. So, pull them off the floor, bone by bone. Hold a second at the top. Let's come back down. Those abs braced all the time. Now try and keep those hips nice and stable, nice and level as you raise up. So they're not rocking backwards and forwards or side to side. Hold them there. And then come back down. Let's do one more. Reverse it and melt back down into the mat. Lovely, bring the knees in. Let's have a little hug. And we'll come onto our side, the other side this time, and repeat those exercises that we did. So make that little cushion for your head. Stack the hips. Brace the abs, little squeeze on the bottom. I'm going to raise both feet so they're hovering off the floor, but remember, if you don't want to, you can put one foot down, that's fine, that lower leg. I'm going to raise the top leg, point the foot, and then flex the foot as it comes back down. So point, and lower, that's it. Think of lengthening that leg. Doesn't have to go too high. We're pulling away from the mat with the side as well. We're not slumping into it. Let's do one more. Excellent. Take that foot behind, bend the knee. I'm going to use the lower leg. We're going to raise that up and lower. And we're starting to feel it in the inner thigh this time. Oh, excuse me. raise and lower. Keep the abs braced, remember. Side of that foot going towards the ceiling. Keep breathing all the time through the exercises. Don't hold your breath. Let's just do 2 more. And 1 more. Brilliant. Change the position again. So knees in line with the bottom. Stack the hips. Bracing the abs again. Are you ready? We're going to raise this knee. We're going to keep the feet together. And lower down. So we're not pulling that knee up too far so that we're rolling back. We don't want to roll back. We want the work to be in the bottom and in the glutes. So lovely, controlled, smooth movements. Have 1 more. Excellent, well done. Come up to sitting, release that shoulder. Let's sit and just take that leg across, look over that same side shoulder, stretch out the hip. Our last one, we'll come back onto our back, pull my mat away a little bit, so relax the neck and shoulders, head in the same alignment as before, looking up at the mat, up at the ceiling, slight tilt forward with the chin. Keep that gap. Okay, take your hands out to the sides. Let's pop up onto the toes and gently we're going to drop our knees to one side. Okay, so the knees are coming over. And they're coming back to centre. Abs are braced, remember. They're coming over to the other side. Back to centre. So I want you to make sure that both of your shoulders are on the mat as you take those knees down. So don't let that opposite shoulder start to raise as you drop the knees. So a lovely controlled movement. Now, if you're happy doing that one and you want to have a little bit more challenge, then take one foot off the mat and the other foot off the mat to meet it. Now, you'll feel your tummy engage a lot more now you've got both feet off the floor. I want you to check your position of your spine. Check it's in a neutral position. So in order to do that, we want to feel that it's in that midpoint between those two extremes. Do you remember when we rocked our pelvis in those two positions? So it should be in that midpoint position between those two extremes. So let's do the same again with the knees. Take them to the side and then bring them back to the centre. So we're bracing with the abs. We're keeping our shoulders on the mat. We're breathing. do one more each side. So remember, if it's too much for you with both feet off the mat, then you can pop both feet down and continue the exercise that way, like we started with. Getting that lovely rotation, feeling it through the obliques, and hold it here. Bring your knees in, little hug, and one last exercise while we're in this position. So again, we're in what we call a tabletop position with our feet off the mat. We've got a nice 90-degree angle here. Our spine is in neutral. I'm going to tap down an alternate heel and bring it back. So taking the leg down, tap. Now I'm using the hip, I'm taking the hip down, the whole leg comes down, but keeping that 90-degree angle, okay? So what I'm not doing is, I'm not just keeping everything there and just bending the knee, okay? I'm taking it from the hip. Try and breathe out as you take the leg down, in as you bring it back. So embracing those abs all the time. You should feel those abs working as you move the leg. We want to keep that neutral spine. The minute that back starts to really arch off the floor, then that's too much for you. Take a little rest, or you could always put one foot down on the mat and just work the other leg in the tabletop position. You can do a few on one side, and then change over. Brilliant, let's just do two more. And one more. Excellent, bring the knees in, little hug, and a gentle rock from side to side. Let's have a long stretch, arms overhead, a real lovely stretch right from your fingertips down to your toes. Just breathe nice and deeply. Bring the arms down. Bend the legs. And if you can, gently roll up. Come to a sitting position. However is more comfy for you. I like to sit cross-legged. Roll the shoulders back and down. Come nice and upright with the top of the body. And gently lean over to the side. Lengthen away with this arm. Back to centre. And do the same on the other side. And back to centre. Pop the soles of your feet together. Push your knees towards the mat and gently come forwards and feel the stretch in the inner thighs. We'll lengthen one leg, bend the other one. Again, sitting nice and upright. Try and straighten this leg, push it towards the mat and gently come forward. Now if straight away that you come forward, that leg comes up, don't come too far forward, just come as far as you can to keep that leg as straight as you can. Some will be more flexible than others. And this arm gently up and round. Nice and steady and slow. Feel a big stretch the bottom of the back on the side there. And back up. Let's change to the other side. Nice and upright. Flatten that leg. Push it towards the floor. Don't push the knee down. Gently come forward. Again, just as far as you can keep that leg nice and straight. Should feel a stretch down the back of the leg. Take the arm up and over. And back. Okay, onto all fours. Do that cat stretch again. So arch up the back, pull in the tummy button, dropping the chin towards the chest and looking through the knees. And then into our neutral spine position. I'm going to pop my toes into the mat and then I'm going to push my hips up to the ceiling. I'm going to walk through the feet. That's it, pushing your heel down. And if you can there, push both heels down to the mat as far as you can. Feel that stretch right down the back of the legs. Walk your hands towards your feet. I'll scuffle forwards. Bend the knees if you need to and roll that up. Bone by bone, take the arms up. Little mini back bend. Bring the arms down. Roll the shoulders and give yourself a little clap. Well done. Thank you. That was a little taster of some Fitness Pilates exercises on the mat.